Where's your daughter?
Somewhere ahead with the kiddies.
Well, you come along with me. We'll see you safely there.
I dodged the corner into Clave Street to urge on the last of the stragglers. Air raid in 5 minutes. I crossed the road to 2 children, one sitting on the curb with his feet in the gutter, crying, and a little girl standing white-faced with panic on the pavement. Where's your mum?
She went to the pub with my auntie.
An older girl came out of the house carrying a baby. I'll carry him. I picked up the little boy, who buried his face in the collar of my jacket, and I held out my hand to the girl. Let's go and find your mummy, shall we? She put her hand in mine. Come on, I said to their sister, who was dithering with a key in her hand. No time to look up. At the bottom of the street, a crowd of people was filing down the steps into Wapping Underground Station. Babies cried, children wailed, and mothers shouted out to one another as if they were meeting in the queue at the grocer's.
Blimey, doll! You had time to get dressed?
Got to look nice for Jerry.
We only just got back from the pub. Bloody kraut, 2nd time in 4 days.
At least it isn't as bad as it was last year. Felt as if I was living in the bloomin' underground.
Now that we were near safety, there was a determination among the families who inhabited the dock area of East London to pretend that our race for shelter had been a breeze, as if the danger we faced could be obliterated by their collective camaraderie. A determination not to be intimidated by a bunch of cowardly German pilots who rained down hell on us from the lordly safety of their aircraft. The crowd had slowed to a shuffle as it made its descent to the shelter of the underground. You're going to have to move more quickly. I put the little boy down next to his sister on the pavement and pushed my way to the head of the queue, knowing exactly what I would find.
You can't make me!
An elderly woman who weighed all of 250 pounds had stopped at the top of the steps.
You know I don't go anywhere by tube. I always catch the bus.
Hello, Mrs. White. Would you do me a favour? These little ones are scared stiff of the bombs. Would you help this little girl down into the underground? I reached out to a small, skinny little scrap of a thing, clutching a grubby doll in her arms. My eyebrows raised to ask her mother's permission. She prodded her daughter forward. Go on, Dotty. Help the old lady down the steps. The line plodded forward down into the warm, stale air eddying up from the station below. I turned to go back up the steps. 4 minutes! Keep moving! 4 minutes! Clave Street was empty. Running as fast as I could, I covered the distance to the back alley that ran behind the 2 rows of houses. People often hid in the back alley so they could go back to bed when the all clear sounded. There was no one in sight. The sirens had stopped, but the searchlights continued their dance against the sky. I blew 3 sharp blasts on my whistle. Air raid! 2 minutes! My voice echoed across the broken intersection, and 2 figures emerged from the rubble of what had once been a corner shop and ran across the road toward the underground. As I followed them down, I heard the engines of the 1st Squadron. Against everything I had learned in training, I couldn't help myself. I stopped and looked up. Silhouetted against the lit sky, I saw the first planes approaching from the south. Heavy black silhouettes, their wingtips almost touching in formation. They were Luftwaffe deniers, all right. 20? It looked like there were hundreds. Ack, ack, ack! The anti-aircraft guns mounted on concrete down by the docks sent bright bolts of fire up into the sky, and I heard, and then felt, the percussion of the first bombs as they hit the homes of the people who cowered under the pavement below me. But where were our boys? Poised to race down the steps to the underground, I looked up again. As if on cue, the cluttered skies were filled with small, fast aircraft dropping down from above the